So, section 5 of your course deals with applications of decimals and percents. And example 1 is adding and subtracting decimal numbers. Now, you need to use a calculator for this course, and it's important that you know how to use your calculator. So, take a look at the answers that I'm providing for the following addition, subtraction, multiplication, division questions. If you do not get the same answer that I am getting, or if the display looks different somehow, you don't have the same number of digits written down, ask your instructor for help in altering the display of your calculator. So example 1 is adding, subtracting decimal numbers. For A, I have 19.72. For B, I obtained 3.351. So for the first multiplication, you can see the answer that I've gotten. In B, I'm doing a division, and your calculator might show 210, or maybe it shows 210.00000000. You see, the result of the operation of example B is a repeating decimal number. It's 210, or 210.0, or 210.00. The 0 repeats. In example example 2, operation C, there's a division. And with the division, there are a lot of digits. And what happens with operation C, when you're taking 0.561 divided by 2.1, you get a string of numbers. And well, what do you write down? You write them all down? Do you write the first couple down? I don't know. What's important is that you need to have some instruction on what to do. And I'm going to cover that in the next topic, rounding decimal numbers. And then in D, it turns out that you again get a repeating decimal. It's 36.7 or 36.7000000. And again, you need to know how many digits do you write down. Do you write down 36.7? Do you write down 36.70? And again, it depends on what your instructor do in terms of rounding. So rounding. Rounding a decimal number is something that you may be expected to do on a test if, for example, some question says round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Well, here in example 3, A, round to the nearest hundredth, and there is a number. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that number in a place value chart. So I'm going to take the number 47.9873, and I'm going to write it in a place value chart. So the way this works, where you see the word and in the place value chart, that really means the decimal point. So right away, that's where I'm going to put the decimal. And we have 7 ones, 4 tens. Okay, that takes care of the numbers to the left of the decimal. Now to the right of the decimal, the first number we come to is a 9. That means we have 9 tenths. Then we have 8 hundredths, 7 thousandths, 3 10,000ths. Now the question was, round this number to the nearest hundredth. Well, in order to round to the nearest hundredth, I have to look at the digit that's in the thousandths place value, and that digit's a 7, which is more than 5, which means I'm going to round the digit in the hundredths place value up to a 9. And then the number that's in the tenths value stays the same. The decimal's the same. So the number 47.9873, if it's rounded to the nearest hundredth, becomes 47.99. In B, I'm asked to round the number 23.99609 to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to start by taking the number and locating the decimal point. There's the decimal point. I have a 3 in the ones position, a 2 in the tens position. Then I have a 9 in the tenths, a 9 in the hundredths, a 6 in the thousandths, a 0 in the 10,000ths, and a 9 in the 100,000ths position. I'm asked to round this to the nearest hundredth. Well, what I'm going to then do is identify the hundredths position. Well, that's got a 9 in it right now, and the next place value to the right is in the thousandths position. Well, there's a 6 in the thousandths position. That means I need to round the 9 in the hundredths position up to a 0. Now, if that rounds up to a 0, that 9, that means this 9 rounds up to a 0. The decimal place is still there. And now the digits in the ones position rounds up to a 4. But the digit in the tens position stays the same. So 23.99609, if we're asked to round it to the nearest hundredth, that rounds up to 24.00. Now we're asked to round 2.0486 to the nearest thousandths. So here's the number 2.0486, and I'm asked to round it to the nearest thousandths. Well, the thousandths place value is 3 boxes to the right of the decimal point. So I have to actually look at the digit in the 10,000ths place value in order to round this number to the nearest thousandth. Well, there's a 6 in the 10,000ths place value. That means that the 8 gets rounded up. So the 8 becomes a 9. The 4 stays the same. The 0 stays the same. There's the decimal. There's the 2. So 2.0486 rounded to the nearest thousandth becomes 2.049, or in other words, 2 and 49 thousandths. I'm going to round the number 29.4324 to the nearest thousandth. Well, if I'm rounding this to the nearest thousandth, I need to identify the value, the number in the thousandth position, which is the 2. And there's a 4 in the 10,000ths position. Now 4 is less than 5, which means that this number is going to round down. So the 2 will stay the same. 3, 4 decimal. So 29.432 is what you get if you round 29.4324 to the nearest thousandths. So 29.432, if you were to read that, that would be the number 29 and 432 thousandths. So 29 and 432 thousandths. Earlier, we'd looked at a calculation. This calculation, I said I returned that. So suppose this number, 0.267142857, say we were told in our test to round that to the nearest tenth. How do you do that? Well, let's look at the place value chart. Well, as you can see, this number is off the chart. The last digit that I've been able to write down is actually in the millionths place value. I want to round to the nearest tenth. How do I do that? Well, what digit's in the tenths place value? There's a 2 in the tenths place value. There's a 6 in the hundredths place value. 6 is bigger than 5, so that means the 2 is going to round up to a 3. There's the decimal place. There's the 0. So that big long number there actually will round to 0.3 if we're rounding to the tenths place value.